black athletes that now sleep in their cars because they lost everything. They have these lavish lives with, pretending to be equal with whites and in the white world, and when they became a has-been, if you will, they were left with nothing. But the problem that they created, it was the issue of last name and bloodline. So now, if you have, over the past 4 generations, thousands and thousands of mulatto children that have the same last names of their black entertainers and athlete fathers, well, when you're doing your chart, that's going to bring up a little bit of ugliness in that these children are, by force, of their father, are part of your chart. And when you're dealing with these children, as far as your chart goes, you're about to have a whole white line on their mother's side that has to be basically eliminated from your chart, because that's not the same situation that we're dealing with in His Name Is My Name too. So you're not necessarily looking for, if the athlete's child had a child, then of course you would, and that child has the athlete's last name, that child would still have to be included in your, there's a little background noise because we're being recorded by whatever entities monitoring my show today. But don't pay no attention to the background noise. They obviously don't know how to work their recording devices. If you hit the wrong button while you're recording or monitoring or doing surveillance on someone, then whatever you're saying in the trailer or in the room where you're recording doing the surveillance, the people will be able to hear, the person you're surveilling will be able to hear the voices that are in the room, whether they're police officers or FBI or whatever. They'll be able to hear those voices. So when whoever it is that's recording the show makes a mistake and either hits the wrong button or does not turn the button off in a timely manner, you'll be able to hear them in the background. But I'm going to keep it on going. So now you have the situation where you're understanding that we are looking for the last names backwards, not so much forward. So if you have these black males that have created this situation of diluting their last names and giving their last names to the children of these white women, then you are going to be sort of including the mulatto children, but you're going to be focusing on the black man's last name and those whites that have his last name of his same generation. So, if you have a black male that's 40 years old, you're going to be looking not so much at his 20-year-old son that he had with a white woman that has his last name. You're going to be looking at other 40-year-old white males that have the same last name as the 40-year-old black male. And then you're going to be looking for, 60-year-old black males and 60-year-old white males that have the same last name. 80-year-old black males and 80-year-old white males that have the same last name. And then, of course, you get into the past generations. There are two people's grandfathers, a black grandfather and a white grandfather. The black grandfather grandfather had the same last name as this white person's white grandfather. So if that hopefully gives clarity to how the chart works. And I know there's going to be a lot of questions about how the paternal and maternal charts work, but we told you the biggest problem you're going to have with the maternal charts is the amount of children that were stolen from the black community and placed in the de-facto slave trade and don't know their last names. Their moms don't know what their last names were changed to. And some of the moms, have never told anybody about losing the child, especially infant children. So you have that problem when you're doing your maternal chart. But, of course, doing the paternal chart, you will have that problem of black males diluting their seed with white women. And so that will create a little bit of situation for you on that side. But throughout the initiative, we'll be showing you how to overcome some of those problems that you're going to run into. And, it'll be difficult, but if it was easy, then, it wouldn't probably be necessary. So we're going to start giving step-by-step instructions over the next couple of shows of how to get started. And we're going to be going over today some of the issues that black males are going to be facing when they're doing these charts. A lot of them have, mothers and grandmothers that are not too forthcoming with information about the different skeletons in the closets that we talked about yesterday. So black males will find that they have a difficult time getting information out of mothers and grandmothers. But in most black families, there is at least one auntie or uncle or somebody in the oldest generation that's alive that has a lot of information about whose child was who. And, who had a child, who lost a child, whose child was taken, the father of children, different things. Some of it may be rumor and conjecture, but it'll still give you a path to go on. These black males will be able to take some of this information and go back to their hometown and talk to other people and see which parts of it are true and which parts of it cannot be substantiated. But it's going to create a situation in office buildings like we talked about yesterday, because you're going to be in, your office, and while you're doing this chart, you're going to see, start noticing the white males and white females, but mainly the white males that have the same last name as you. And you're going to have to make a notation of that and start, doing your little footwork investigation as to how you and that white male got the same last name. Now, as for why the show is being suddenly monitored, well, there's two reasons that this is occurring. Normally, that we put up the information for the show right before the show. That's how we normally do it, to keep down the need for, or the ability for government agencies and different people to monitor and do surveillance on the show. The show is very black history, black informative. So there are a lot of things that white society does not want black people to know. And so we know this. But, we try and cut down the interference that occurs. Even though radio considers themselves to be believers in free speech, they are not necessarily above having to give access to government entities that show that they need to surveil a show.